Welcome to my review of the second episode in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, Chapter 10, The Passenger. Now, as always, I ask you to please watch the episode before coming to this review, but if you have already seen the episode, let's talk about it. We follow the Mandalorian as he must ferry a passenger with precious cargo on a risky journey. Now, before we get into the proper review, please everyone do not forget to please like, to please share, to please subscribe, because it really helps me and the channel out. And of course, let me know your thoughts on this episode, because that's the most important part. It's starting the discussion. That's what the comments are there for. And in a completely different direction from last week's episode, this one feels like it puts the main story as the B plot kind of, but it still keeps it going just enough. Now, this episode was directed by Peyton, who I was extremely excited to see him directing an episode of The Mandalorian, and it's telling that it's him once you see the episode. It's very different from last week's, like in every regard. It doesn't feel as big, as grandiose, doesn't feel as cinematic, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory manner whatsoever, but it feels very much like a Peyton thing once you really look at it and what he has been doing and directing in the past few years. And I just love how secretive they are being about not only the names of the episodes, but who gets to direct it. I seriously cannot find out anywhere during the week going to an episode who's directing it and what is the actual name, and I kind of love it. Now, as I mentioned, Peyton redirected this episode, and right away, as soon as we get through the fantastic opening scene in this, where Mando gets ambushed and Baby Yoda falls to the ground, and I was so worried about him because I don't like when Baby Yoda gets hurt. It's an awesome, really funny, really thrilling opening scene out in the middle of the desert, and after that, the title comes on and we get to the cantina and there's a fucking giant ant. There it is. It's a Peyton directed episode right there and then. And from then on, we kind of shift gears, which I was not expecting given last week's cameo at the end of the episode. I was kind of expecting for us to still be on Tatooine, but immediately we go into that ice planet that has been shown in the trailers a lot. And again, I thought we would have been in this ice planet for quite a long time since we saw a lot of it in the trailers, but apparently it just feels like it's going to be this episode. Mando must transport this frog lady, which is her actual name, and he needs to get her to the safe place because she is carrying the last batch of her descendants before she passes away, so she can continue her bloodline. And I thought she was really cute, but she was also really cool eventually. She's taking this bath in this hot water in their ice planet, and when they're attacked by the spiders, which we'll get into, she pulls her tongue out and she just brings her cloak over to her, and then she's running away on all fours, jumping, running really fast. And I thought that was a really cool visual. She's also clearly very intelligent as she fixes that droid and communicates with Mando through it, because I thought it was really cool how they could not understand each other, or rather how Mando couldn't understand her and what she was trying to talk about because he just doesn't speak the language. And for a while I thought that created a lot of friction, but seeing as she is really smart and she can work around the kinks of a dismantled droid to communicate, it shows that she is resourceful and really intelligent, and I really like that. Now, reinforcing my point, as this is very much a Peyton redirected episode, there's lots of bugs, man. There's lots of big and small and several sized spiders that they run into after Baby Yoda eats one of them. I'm just imagining that spider like waking up as she is in Baby Yoda's mouth already. She's like, yo, what the fuck? And so every freaking spider comes in and they start chasing Mando. So it's a really cool chase. It's a really thrilling action sequence, a really adrenaline-inducing action sequence from the caves to the Razor Crest, and then they're trapped. And I really enjoyed it. This felt very much like the horror episode of the season. Last season, it was the one where Mando and Bill Burr and his team go to rescue the prisoner, directed by Rick Famuyiwa, and we have a few cameos on that episode as well, and we have cameos on this one. And look, I have been telling everyone I can to please watch Kim's Convenience, and Appa from Kim's Convenience is in this episode, and knowing how much Paul Sun-hyung Lee loves Star Wars, I was so happy to see him in this. I jumped. out of my couch. So happy to see him, and so happy that they kind of created a relationship. Now the Republic, or at least these X-Wing pilots, know who Mando is, and maybe they'll come back. And Dave Filoni was also there, which is really cool, but clearly they gave the lines to the actual actor, which is also a very wise choice. So the bulk of this episode, in that ice planet, they're being trapped in there. They can't move, but there's this pressure of getting the X to a safe place, and with the spiders and the thrills and the horror atmosphere that it creates, the bulk of it I enjoyed, but I understand that a lot of people might not enjoy this episode because it feels like it's stopping the fast-paced movement of going into what the actual story of the whole season is. And I feel it's a little bit too slow, even for me as well, even though overall I enjoyed it. It's a good episode. It's solid. It's not going to be one of the best, however, and I completely see that. My biggest issue, however, is I didn't like how they were handling Baby Yoda in this episode. They kind of made him feel antagonistic with eating the eggs even after Mando tells him not to do that, because they properly set up these eggs as something vital to this frog lady's bloodline, and Baby Yoda eating them just didn't sit right with me. And I love Baby Yoda, so I don't want to not love Baby Yoda. So by the end of this episode, I'm just happy they moved on from it. He didn't eat anymore, but he still went on to eat the fucking spider, which is kind of related to that, but that one specifically didn't bother me. I just didn't like how he kept eating the eggs. I just hope they don't do anything like that again. So those are my thoughts on The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 2/Chapter 10/The Passenger. Again, what did you think of this episode, my beautiful geekies? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know your thoughts. That's the most important part, to create a discussion in the comments. And of course, I'll be reviewing every single episode of this season weekly, so stay tuned for that, and many more videos coming in the future. And so until the next one, please don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe, because it really helps me and the channel out. But most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.